The Ravens have won their fifth straight game after they get a home W over the New York Jets, 23-10. But does this Ravens success still feel like fool's gold? I'm going to talk about this and a lot more covering this game on this episode of Quiet Storm Sports. Yes. Welcome back to yet another episode of Quiet Storm Sports on the Purple Rain Podcast YouTube channel. I am your host, Sutton Def, and we have a Ravens W again to talk about for the fifth straight week. We have another Ravens W to get into. The Ravens just defeated the New York Jets 23-10 at home. And this one, honestly, this win felt very, very similar to the last couple of wins that the Ravens have gotten. And excuse me, I'm just kind of wrapping up what I'm seeing. I'm wrapping up what I'm seeing here. These are 1:00 games. I've got the iPad pulled up here, trying to see what happens in the Steelers and Bears game, and then also in this Bengals and Patriots game. Apologies if you're part of the hashtag replay gang and you're listening to this instant reaction. That means you already know the outcome of those games, but I'll try not to bring those up too much. I'm going to stick to talking about our Ravens here today. So, again, like I said, Ravens get a W, 23-10. Does it feel like fool's gold? Let me know down below in the comments. Do you think vibes are high on this Ravens team right now? Like, are you confident in this 2025 Baltimore Ravens team based off of their recent performances? Because I'm not. I'm getting ready to get into it. Appreciate y'all for coming through in the chat. Make sure you guys like the video. Subscribe to the channel as well. That's right, another ugly win. This one felt a little bit cleaner if you look at just the score. 23-10, the Ravens for the, sixth straight matchup, I think. Sixth straight matchup, the Ravens hold their opponents under 20 points. Pretty damn good. The Ravens have not given up over 20 since they played the Houston Texans, I believe, and that was damn near 2 months ago. So the defense is doing what it needs to do. It's just the offense, man. There's so many issues right now that I could talk about on the offense, and I'll start with this, of course, the offensive line. A change needs to be made. I think we got to get Andrew Voorhees up out the paint. It's time. Throw in Emory Jones. Just see what he can offer. See what he has to offer. And I know a lot of you guys are saying, like, why would we replace Andrew Voorhees before we replace Daniel Faalele? Let me tell you something. Daniel Faalele is a glorified scapegoat for this team. I know his losses are loud. He's all over. He's plastered all over the Ravens Twitter and the internet and stuff like that. But nobody really talks about Andrew Voorhees and how bad he's been recently. I got to go back and watch the tape, but I saw a couple of instances in this game where Andrew Voorhees was just getting beat. He did not look good. I think it may be time to rotate Emory Jones in there. Because, again, this was yet another game, and here I'm going to go through the stats here. This was another game where the Ravens offense could not get anything going due to the lack of productivity coming from the offensive line. Derrick Henry in this game, 21 carries for only 64 yards. Had a long carry of 17. That came at the end of the game, kind of like in garbage time after the Jets had already, pretty much mailed it in. He had 2 touchdowns in this game. He got a couple of red zone carries, which he was able to convert into touchdowns, which was good. But in terms of do I have his average? Well, that's stupid. They don't have his average here. But I know his average wasn't that good. Oh, no, it was 3. It was 3 yards a carry. 3 yards a carry for Derrick Henry. This offensive line has been absolutely criminal for how much they've been holding back Derrick Henry. There's literally no reason for Derrick Henry to be getting touched as much as he does in the backfield. It's happening consistently, guys. It's really, really bad. Finishing up this Bears and Steelers game, it looks like the Bears are going to go ahead and wrap this one up and get a W over Pittsburgh, which would put the Ravens and the Steelers at a tie for the division, which means it's really going to come down to those divisional games. But let me keep going here, guys. Again, with the stats, Derrick Henry did not have a big day, again, due to the offensive line in large part. Hell, the only reason he was really able to score touchdowns in the red zone was because of Patrick Ricard. Patrick Ricard was a bully down low in this game. He sprung open a couple of good runs for Derrick Henry. But outside of that, man, our run blocking is not very good. Not very good. Lamar Jackson in this game, 13 for 23 passing, 153 yards passing, took 1 sack on the day, no touchdowns, no interceptions. So the second straight week in a row of no touchdowns from Lamar Jackson. And he didn't look the same. Let me just keep it a buck. Let me keep it a buck with y'all. Lamar Jackson does not look the same. He does not look like MVP form Lamar. He just doesn't. Not throwing the football. He missed a couple of throws today that he would normally make. Not running the football. He looks like an absolute shell of himself running the football. I said it on my halftime live stream. Guy looks like Baker Mayfield out there right now. You know, like in terms of running the football. He just does not look good at all. There's no electricity. There's no burst. Right? He can't beat guys around a corner. He's not shifty, like shifting himself upfield. He can't do any of it right now. And again, I don't know if it has more to do with him, still being hurt, right, with the hamstring and the knee and now the ankle, or if he's just getting older and he just doesn't really have that in his bag anymore. But I'll tell you one thing. The league is starting to wake up to that. The league is waking up to the fact that Lamar Jackson might not be as big of a rushing threat any longer, which is scary. Because if you cannot threaten the run with Lamar Jackson's legs, it turns this offense back into a standard NFL offense with a standard NFL quarterback. Lamar Jackson can throw with the best of them, don't get me wrong. But his X factor is and always will be what he's able to do with his legs. Always. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Says he's still hurt. Yeah, he's definitely still hurt. He's got to be still hurt, man. No bones about it. There's no way around. I mean, Lamar Jackson, he looks like a shell of himself out there. And with that type of Lamar performance, you can kiss a playoff run goodbye. With that type of offensive line performance against a better team, you can kiss this season's hopes goodbye. That's why, like, Ravens won their 5th straight. Cool. I'm glad that, they literally have to win every single game, after you start the season 1-5. But at this point, man, the offense does not look anywhere close to where it needs to be. Let me go through some more stats here. Running the football, Keaton Mitchell finished with 2 carries for 10 yards. He had one big 35-yard run that was called back due to a Tyler Linderbaum hold. That was very frustrating to see, even though the game was pretty much already over by that point. Definitely want to see Keaton Mitchell get a little bit more involved as the Chiefs are closing in on scoring a touchdown and taking the lead with a minute left over the Colts. And you have the Steelers, who are still down 3, 3rd and 8, 39 seconds to go, and they're at midfield. See what happens here. Mason Rudolph to DeKalin Zacharias Metcalf, who only completes the catch for maybe 2 yards. Now it's 4th down and 6. 28 seconds to go. What will the Steelers do? Need the Steelers to lose this one, man. Need them to lose this one. It's tied the division. Oh, incomplete. Incomplete pass. Turnover on downs. Bears win the game. There you have it, folks. The Ravens are right back in the driver's seat for the AFC North. But again, does this success feel like fool's gold? To me, it does. You go out there against a Jets team today, and you can only muster up 3 points in the first half. My biggest fear in that game was that they would start slow, the Ravens, and they would give the Jets hope, and they would give the Jets confidence, right? That, hey, even though we're, 2-8 or whatever the Jets were before the game, even though they were 2-8, they came into that game They stopped the Ravens on their first couple of drives, right? And I felt like they were kind of getting some juice. They were getting some confidence. And that's just not something that you want to do. That's not what good teams do against bad teams. You don't let them feel like there's hope. You just don't. I know what the Lions are doing with the Giants right now, but again, there's a certain standard for the Ravens, and that standard did not show up today, at least not offensively. More stats. Receiving, Zay Flowers had another Zay Flowers game. Like I said, he's going to have anywhere between 2 to 5 catches. He had 5. And he's going to have anywhere between 50 to 70 yards. He had 58. Of course, no touchdowns. This was a game where I will say, Zay Flowers at certain points, they were getting him involved, and he was a game changer in terms of like pushing the Ravens down the field. A lot of that, again, it's just like it has to do with Lamar doing whatever he can. I think it has more so to do with Lamar doing whatever he can to like escape the pocket, and just find somebody downfield. And he was able to do that with Zay Flowers on a couple of different instances to the tune of 5 catches for 58 yards and no touchdowns for Zay Flowers in this one. Devontae Walker, he had a sighting today, had 1 catch for 30 yards. That was cool to see. Derrick Henry continues his streak of catching a couple balls per game. He had 2 catches for 24 yards receiving in this one. D-Hop had 2 catches for 13 yards and a nice chain mover there in the, I believe it was third quarter. Isaiah Likely continues to be cold, man. 1 catch for 10 yards in this game. Mark Andrews only 1 catch for 9 yards in this game. So me and Alex's Purple Rain parlay did not hit. We did pick Andrews to go over 29.5 receiving yards. He only had 1 catch on the day. Keaton Mitchell had 1 catch for 9 yards as well. Tyler Loop, of course, balling out of control. Had 3 field goal attempts, made all 3 of them, and both of his extra point attempts as well. Shout out to Tyler Loop. He's been phenomenal so far this season. On the Jets side of the ball, you had backup quarterback Tyrod Taylor, who's now the starter. 17 for 28, 222 yards passing, 1 touchdown through the air, and 1 interception in garbage time. TJ Tampa picked him off as the game was wrapping up. But what else? The Breece Hall has 16 carries for 44 yards, only averaging 2.8 yards a carry. Tyrod Taylor carried it 5 times himself for 19 yards. Receiving, Breece Hall had 4 catches for 75 yards. A lot of that came off of a big catch and run where I believe it was Alohi Gilman who missed a tackle, and Breece Hall had like a 40-yard reception. So, that wasn't really good to see. I still believe in Alohi Gilman. I feel like he's been really good for this Ravens team. What else though? Let me see. Yeah, that pretty much wraps it up for these stats here. Tackling defensively, you had Kyle Hamilton with 6 tackles. You had Roquan Smith with 6 tackles as well. Teddy Buchanan with 4 tackles. Yeah, Marlon Humphrey with 3 tackles and a forced fumble. Shout out to Marlon Humphrey. I know he's doing a Victory IG Live right now. Marlon Humphrey, I mean, as you saw last week, he don't even need to play. As long as the Ravens win, he's turning on that Instagram Live, especially since he made a play today. He forced a fumble. Yeah, he's definitely celebrating on live, for sure. For sure. Jordan Stout's performance too. Let me not miss out on talking about Jordan Stout. We got to big him up, man. Jordan Stout has been phenomenal this year. He had 2 really, really amazing punts in this one. He had one 74-yard punt in the first half where like the punt returner literally looked like he was running to catch an over-the-shoulder pass. Really, that's how booming that kick was. And then the second one was kind of like a coffin corner punt where it goes out at around the 5-yard line. Beautiful stuff. Just beautiful stuff from from Jordan Stout today. Beautiful stuff. Love to see it. Colts and Chiefs are in overtime, it looks like. Chiefs are fighting for their season. That's interesting. But yeah. Mog says, I can't stand Marlo, but he keeps coming up clutch. Yeah, man. Hey, as long as he keeps making these plays, I mean, hey, do your Instagram lives, front run while you can. But look, when the time comes for this Ravens team to play another playoff team, a good team, like one of those teams that we haven't played since the beginning of the season, I need to see this offense actually look competent. Because I tell you what, the Patriots, the Bills, the Broncos, whatever team, the Colts, whatever team that this Ravens team sees in the playoffs, if they do make it, they are not going to let you off of the hook in the same way that the New York Jets did today. The New York Jets team, they had a golden opportunity. They had a golden opportunity, multiple golden opportunities to really stick it to the Ravens in that first half. The Ravens only put up 3 points. They were 0 for 5 on third down in the first half. The Ravens were averaging 1.9 yards per play in the first half. The Jets had an opportunity that a lot of other good teams are going to take advantage of if the Ravens repeat that type of performance offensively. I'm watching that game like I was out of it in the first half. I'm watching it with the straightest of faces. I'm just like, bro, there's no way that this Ravens team can expect to make any noise in the playoffs this year against some of these good teams if they cannot score the football. Getting down in the red zone and kicking field goals that's been our thing this year. And that cannot continue to be our thing if the Ravens want to be serious about winning a championship or even having a chance at winning a championship. Apparently Kyle Hamilton, of course, he went down with an injury. Harbaugh said that Kyle Hamilton does not have a major injury. Taven Bryan also limped off the field today. Harbaugh said this win feels great, but the season is not over. This win did not feel great. It felt good because in the second half, the Ravens came out. The defense started, the defense continued what they were doing, but the offense started to finally put things together. The offense, again, Zay Flowers had himself a big drive. Let me actually go through that third quarter because that's when the tide started to change. That's when the tide started to change in favor of the Ravens. Looks like the Lions are going to go ahead and get a win here over the Giants, too. Let me see. Third quarter, play action on first down, and Zay Flowers dropped the pass. That was very rough. And then there was a Roger Rosengarten penalty. Lamar threw it on the dirt in 2nd and 15. And then on 3rd and 15. Oh, yeah. Let me say this. Here's a big reason why I still don't feel very encouraged by this Ravens team. Even though the Ravens managed to put up 14 points in the third quarter, those 2 drives where the Ravens scored, the Ravens were bailed out by pass interference calls. They were bailed out. There was one where it was 3rd and 15, went deep to Mark Andrews, pass interference. Ravens got a new set of downs and got to scoot on down the field. That seemed like some of our biggest plays in this game. Those are probably 2 of the most back-breaking plays for the Jets in this game, those pass interference calls. Without those PI calls, I feel like we might still be looking at a Ravens win, but, we might be looking at a 16-10 victory without those pass interference calls. So don't get it twisted. Don't be fooled by, the Ravens. Well, I guess they didn't cover the spread because the spread was minus 13.5. They won by 13. Wow, that's crazy, right? Vegas is insane with making some of these lines here. But just because they damn near covered the spread does not mean that this was a dominant win. I don't want to see any national media outlet tomorrow talking about how the Ravens are back. It was a big win over the Jets. They took care of business, which they did. They took care of business. Third quarter, again, offense did what it needed to do somewhat. Of course, they got some help from the refs. The defense still stood tall. We're now looking at in the last 2 months, this Ravens defense only giving up, maybe 13 points per game. Amazing stuff. Amazing stuff. But the offense also has not scored 30 in about 2 months. So, I don't know. Do with that information what you will. But I'm telling you right here, right now, on the Purple Rain Podcast YouTube channel. Make sure you guys like the video. If you're enjoying the content, we got about 60 people watching live right now. I'm telling you right here, right now, this Ravens team, they're not serious contenders. Not with this offense. Not with Lamar Jackson not being a threat with his running. Not with this offensive line constantly allowing guys to get into the backfield and hit Derrick Henry early before he even gets ahead of steam. Right? Not with this Ravens offense being bailed out by penalties to get down the field. It's not going to happen. You can temper your expectations now. And honestly, I don't know if this Ravens team is going to be able to turn it around. The offense, that is. I don't know if the offense is going to be able to turn it around because, again, a lot of the issues start based off of the offensive line and their deficiencies. And I don't think that the Ravens see the offensive line as a problem. John Harbaugh said it himself last week. Those guys on the line are playing pretty damn good. They're getting better every week. Those are our best 5 available. So, I mean, if Andrew Voorhees continues to lose on the inside, if Daniel Faalele continues to lose, Roger Rosengarten continues to lose, Ravens are going to start dropping some of these games when you get some better competition. You got the Bengals coming up on Thanksgiving Day. That's not going to be an easy game. You get a divisional opponent who knows you very well. Joe Burrow might just be back. Hell, even if he's not back, I'm scared of Joe Flacco at this point. Again, Ravens defense has been playing very well, but even with a defense as bad as the Bengals, I still fear for how well this offense can perform. Offensive line never changed at all. 8 not running is the lowest concern. If they could get any push on the offensive line, you could lean on Henry. That's true. That's true. Right? But here's the thing, guys. The Ravens, for the greater part of the last 10 years, to be honest with you, they've relied so heavily on the heroics of Lamar Jackson and kind of bailing them out of situations, being able to dance around a collapsing pocket, being able to climb a collapsing pocket, being able to break out in the open field, make a guy or two miss, and kind of get these back-breaking first down run type plays. Those days seem to be over. You know? And as much as I would love for the Ravens to just be a traditional ground and pound team, feed Derrick Henry 20 plus times per game, and he's going to go ahead and average 4 or 5 yards a carry, and he's going to have 100 plus yards in 2 times. I would love that. But this offensive line is not allowing for that, right? So you kind of need, now more than ever, you kind of need those Lamar heroics. And the only reason why not having those heroics haven't lost us a game yet is because we've beaten teams like the Dolphins, the Browns, the Bears. As much as people love to hype them up, I don't think that they're that good. The Jets today, the Vikings, who are still very bad. JJ McCarthy had another bad game today. You're playing a bunch of scrubs. And eventually, the lack of the Lamar heroics will come back to bite the Ravens in the ass. African 1000 says the Ravens must use Tyler Huntley and Lamar for the next game. Harbaugh and the O-line are the Ravens' biggest problem right now. It's really just the O-line for me. It's really the O-line. Because you can tell the Ravens desperately want to get Derrick Henry involved. They desperately want to get him involved. Problem is, he has no confidence running through any gap. If he's not running directly behind Patrick Ricard, he doesn't trust what he's seeing out in front of him. And he shouldn't. Because the offensive line, they're constantly missing assignments, whiffing, getting bullied. I got to go back and watch the All-22 tape when it comes out tomorrow morning. But based off of what I saw from the broadcast angle, this was yet another game where the Ravens O-line just is not very consistent at all. Kimberly says, I don't want Lamar Jackson to get hurt again. Something needs to change on offensive line. Better block and run more and score more touchdowns. Got to score more touchdowns for sure. For sure. Lamar heroics come with a decent O-line. That's true. That's true. We've seen Lamar Jackson without an O-line before, and just his pure athleticism was able to make up for that. But right now, you don't have that. You don't have that luxury. So O-line's got to step up. Maybe we throw in Emory Jones. He had his first activation today. He was activated for the very first time. Of course, didn't play, but maybe we do see Emory Jones rotate in at that left guard or maybe even right guard spot. We'll see. We'll see. Cincinnati will load the box versus us like always. I'm sure they will. I'm sure they will. I mean, they kind of have to. Oh, wow. Nice play by the Chiefs. Ooh, Xavier Worthy. Cleveland already scored on the Raiders. I wonder if that was Shador. I don't think it was. But yeah, guys, I'm getting distracted. Let me not get distracted. Ravens talk. At this point, I'm convinced that Harbs is doing this despite the fans. Yeah. Is Joe Burrow starting at 3-8? Yes, he will. Knowing the Bengals, they're going to throw Joe Burrow out there, whether or not they're 3-8, 8-3. They're going to throw him out there. 3-11, they'll put him out there for sure. They still want to sell tickets. I know that for a fact. And what better way to do that than get your star quarterback back in the game? But yeah, man. Overall, I'm not happy about this Ravens win. I don't feel good about it. You know, obviously, I'm happy that the Ravens are over 500 for the first time since last season. Obviously, I'm excited about that. But just the fact that I know when this Ravens team faces stiffer competition, you're going to have first halves like today against the Jets, but it's going to be the whole game. You know what I mean? Where the offense is continuing to struggle, but the defense is not going to be able to hold down a Broncos offense for 4 quarters, or a Colts offense for 4 quarters, or a Bills offense for 4 quarters, or so on and so forth. Okay, right? You guys get my point. Like, against these lesser teams, you can kind of mask some of the ailments that this team is dealing with. But eventually, you're gonna have to play some big boy teams. You're gonna have to play some big boy football. And how will the Ravens respond in those moments? That I do not know. I don't. The offense was playing good at the start of the season. Meanwhile, the defense is trash. Now it's flipped, but you're playing against bad teams. Yeah, like I said, we're playing a game of whack-a-mole, right? You push down one problem, another problem pops up right out of the ground, just like that. Shador Sanders making his first start today. Get rid of it, boy. Damn, man, you got to get rid of the football. It gets sacked right there. Yikes. Got to get rid of the football. Better not lose against the Bengals on prime time on Thanksgiving Day. Yeah, that's going to ruin my entire day. There's no gaps for Derrick Henry to run through because it's been a miracle he hasn't been injured behind this dismal offensive line. Yeah, I mean, you're right. The gaps, they close up very quickly. And like I said, that's why I say he does not trust his eyes. He does not trust his eyes at all. You know, he does not trust running behind Andrew Voorhees or Daniel Faalele. Only person he trusts running behind is Patrick Ricard. So I think if you're John Harbaugh and you go into tomorrow and you have a meeting with the rest of the coaches, you say, okay, what's been our one biggest constant over the past 2 months? Defense is strapping shit, albeit against bad teams, again, but still NFL teams. You're only giving up around, 13, 14 points per game. Phenomenal. And you're taking the football away. Phenomenal. However, if we could just get the offense rolling, then this team would literally be the scariest team in the league right now. That's the only thing stopping them from being the scariest team in the league right now. If the offense could just put up 30 points. But right now they can't. They haven't been able to for 2 months. So again, if I'm Harbaugh and I'm sitting in that coaches meeting, I'm looking at my coaches and saying, hey, look, what can we do to ensure that this offense gets back on track? Obviously trade deadline has come and went. We're not bringing in anybody new. We're not bringing in anybody off the street. We got to deal with what we're working with right now. And so, what's our biggest issue? I don't necessarily think it's Derrick Henry just being washed now. I don't necessarily think it's, Zay Flowers is a bad player or Mark Andrews is a bad. I'm not saying that. But I think really what the biggest issue is that our offensive line cannot get enough push up front for us to even feel comfortable in these short yardage situations. You guys remember the tush push in the first quarter with Mark Andrews, and he didn't get it, right? Got stood up. They got zero push on that play. Luckily, they ran it back the play after that, and they ended up getting it. So they don't have too much egg on their face when it comes to that. But if I'm Harbaugh, again, I'm saying, hey, George, Mr. Warhop, hey, what's wrong with your unit? Your unit is destroying this entire team right now. Like, this team will crumble under the foundation or lack thereof of this offensive line. So what do we need to do to get that back going again to the point where they actually look competent? I think it's just time to make a personnel change. It's just time to make a personnel change. Warhop is on the hot seat. He's definitely on the hot seat. 1,000%. 1,000%. This win feels like fool's gold. I'm sorry. Some Ravens fans might call me a hater. Some Ravens fans might say that I'm being too negative, which I have seen some people say. But I don't care. I don't care. Lamar Jackson said here today, Ravens got to execute better. We need to put more points on the board and execute drives. Yeah. Yeah. And it's not just the offensive line. Again, Lamar doesn't look the same athletically. There were a couple of times in this game where I felt like Lamar Jackson, the Lamar Jackson of old, and not even the Lamar Jackson of old, maybe just the Lamar Jackson of a year ago, right? It feels like he would have made something happen. He would have made that extra little wiggle that Lamar Jackson tends to make and makes all the difference that they get an extra 6 to 7 yards. He's not able to do that right now. He can't do that right now. And that's the issue. That's the issue. Quoney says, I'm not a hater. It does feel like fool's gold. It does. It does. I could see if we were like if we were getting these ugly wins against like actual playoff contending teams. But no, I mean, these are against bottom of the barrel teams, guys. We literally were just in a dogfight with the New York Jets. At home. In Baltimore. We were in a dogfight with them. Trevor Lawrence fumble. Oh. And the big guy returns it for a touchdown. Crazy. Yeah, guys. It's I don't particularly know what this Ravens team, I don't know what to expect from them going forward, because the only thing I can really expect is for them to continue playing and starting this same offensive line. And with that being said, I can only really expect for them to put up 20 points a game with this O-line. That's it. That's it, guys. The Jets were in dogfights all year long, though. I mean, that's cool. That's cool, but I mean, it's just like, bro, it's the Jets, man. This was supposed to be a belt to ass game. That's what it was supposed to be. And had the Jets not been just inherently just bad, right? Let's see what happened with the Jets in that third quarter. Because remember, pass interference calls bailed the Ravens out of this game for the most part. That was how they were able to get the ball down the field on 2 separate drives and get those 2 touchdowns. Let's take a look at what the Jets did after the half. So their first drive in the third quarter, they end up going for it on 4th down. They don't get it. The Ravens got the ball back around midfield. And then again, there was the pass interference that got the Ravens down the field. Andrews had a drop on 3rd and goal. Then Ricard gets a good block, and Henry gets into the end zone. After that, Tyrod Taylor started to come on a little bit, running around, stiff arm Trenton Simpson in this game. Roquan missed a sack on Tyrod Taylor. That looked really, really ugly. They got a field goal on that one. That was their second drive of the third quarter. And that goes into the fourth quarter here. That was when the Ravens gave up that 40-yard reception early in the fourth quarter to Breece Hall. The Jets got in the red zone, and they were kind of spamming Breece Hall at that point, to which point he fumbled, right? And that kind of just really ended the game right there. That really just ended the game when Marlon Humphrey forced that fumble. But yeah, I mean, outside of that, guys, I mean, that we're not going to get that sort of luck, right? AJ Brown just scored a touchdown. Good for him. Good for him and Hurts. But we're not going to get that lucky, right, against some of these better teams. I hate to break it, but that's it. That's it. Ravens need to learn to win ugly wins. Sure. Ravens are in first place in the AFC North. Yeah. Don't care about pretty games anymore. Mad Rasta, I feel like you will care. You will care. When it comes to some of these better teams that the Ravens are facing down the stretch, hell, even the Steelers, you know, you're not going to be able to play like you played today against the Jets and beat the Steelers. You're just not. You're just not. Because if you thought that the Ravens offense struggled today against the Jets, imagine how much this Ravens offense is going to struggle against the Steelers. The Ravens offense struggles against the Steelers even when the Ravens offense is flying high, even when they're playing well on the season. They still go up against Pittsburgh and they kind of shit the bed a little bit. So I can only imagine the Ravens, when we play the Steelers, which again are going to be must-win games, the Steelers are going to be, they're probably going to hold the Ravens to 20 points or so. Can you win the game with 20 points? That's the question that I have to ask myself as a Ravens fan. Can we beat the Steelers by scoring 20? I don't know. I really don't think so. I really don't think so. I know this defense has been performing well. I get that. But I don't think that you beat the Steelers scoring 20 points, 23 points. I don't think that you beat the Patriots scoring 20 to 23 points. I don't think that you beat the Green Bay Packers scoring 20 to 23 points. You guys get my point here. You got to score points. That's my point. And we're not. And we're not doing it. And that's why this win feels like fool's gold. The Ravens, it was literally a tale of two halves today. They were completely anemic in the first half, all the way to the point where the crowd was booing them by the end of the first. And then, of course, in the second half, they finally started to put some drives together, got Zay Flowers going a little bit, got some clutch pass interference calls that got them down the field. Down low in the red zone, Patrick Ricard sprung open a couple of blocks for some Derrick Henry's touchdowns. But outside of that, man, didn't look good. You did what you needed to do to win, but you still do not look like a complete team. And that's my issue. That's my issue. But number one in the AFC North, win is a win. Main issue is defense has to be better in run defense. Yeah, that's true. I haven't had a huge problem with the Ravens run defense, to be honest with you. I feel like it could definitely be better. That's for sure. But I can only ask this defense to do but so much, right? They're only giving up 13 a game, guys. They're giving up 13 points a game since the bye, right? Love you, babe. Since the game right before the bye. They're only giving up like 13, 14 a game, guys. It's on the offense. This Ravens, literally the only thing stopping the Ravens from being the best team in football right now. The only thing stopping the Ravens from being the best team in football is the fact that they cannot score 30. You know, that's it. That's it. And I can't blame Todd Monken. Although I'm not a fan of the Mark Andrews tush pushes, although I'm not a fan of the Zay Flowers jet sweeps and end around things that the Ravens like to do, I'm not a fan of that. But the Ravens and Lamar Jackson, that offense has looked really, really good for the most part since Todd Monken has been here as offensive coordinator. So I can't put it on him. It's really just solely on the offensive line. That's it. That's it. The offensive line, if you think of the offense as a whole, as like a building, as like a house, right? The offensive line is the foundation of that house. Since the foundation has so many cracks in it, the house is crumbling. It's crumbling. So I mean that's the catalyst right there. We all know that. It's not a surprise to anybody. This is an ongoing issue that I don't think that the Ravens have any plans to address. But activating Emory Jones today, yes, that's a start. John Harbaugh says he's close to being ready to play. Hopefully that means that sometime in the near future, they wake the fuck up and say, hey, look, we need to make a change here at guard while we can, and see how that goes. I mean, this is the perfect opportunity. This upcoming Thursday, Thanksgiving against the Bengals, I think it's the perfect opportunity to throw in a Emory Jones at that left guard spot and just see how he does, man. If he's not good, right? If he's somehow worse than Andrew Voorhees, then all right, just rotate him back. But it's worth a shot, is what I'm saying. Because what if he's so much? What if he's that much better? What if Emory Jones is that much better? And I know if was a fifth, we'd all be drunk. I know that saying. But you guys get my point. You have nothing to lose. You have nothing to lose. There's no way somebody who you graded high enough to take as a third round pick is going to be, leaps and bounds worse than what we have right now at left guard and right guard. So you can take your pick on which one of those you want to replace. But again, you guys get my point. If Lamar can't run, it makes opposing defenses have no worries. That's true. That's my thing. That's my thing. But again, that starts with the offensive line. Lamar cannot pull off his heroics without an offensive line. He just can't do it. Can't do it. But okay, guys. I'm going to go ahead and end the stream here. Again, this was just my instant reaction. We're about 40 minutes into the stream. Appreciate y'all for coming through. Ravens get a W, 23-10. Feels like fool's gold to me. I'll be here to talk about it tomorrow with my co-host, Alex, simply AS10. So make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel if you did enjoy the content here today. Also, like the video, and we will be back tomorrow. Remember to stay positive, test negative, and never, ever, ever forget, even on the rainiest of days, to call God. It's your boy Sudden Death from PRP. This is Quiet Storm Sports. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.